Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Good Friday. Happy day 4 of the British Swimming Championships 2023. My name's John Mason. I'm going to be here all week, taking you through all the action. And another day starts right here, the heat session. We've got 4 races today, 4 events going to be looking to make it through to tonight's final. The top 8 athletes from each heat, well, each event, shall I say, will make it through to tonight's final, the A final, and hopefully be crowned British champion. Last night saw some amazing action. We saw Laura Stevens and Dan Jervis both make that qualification time and get themselves on the plane to the World Championships this summer with a lot of other athletes in that consideration time. So another day to get through, day 4. It's going to be amazing, and it all starts right here. Don't forget, using social media, most of you are. Use the hashtag BSC23. Thank you. I'm having a shocker this morning, ladies and gentlemen. The coffee hasn't kicked in. BSC23. Tag us across all platforms at British Swimming. But we've got another event coming up this summer as well. It's happening in Manchester, the World Para Swimming Championships coming to the north. So get yourself some tickets. You can find them at British Swimming. And here's a video for you. Let's take a look. So there you have it, an amazing event coming to Manchester this summer. Like I said, get your tickets at British Swimming. But for now, we've got to get into our heat session. Our athletes are ready, our officials are ready. So I'm going to hand over to Andy and Amy on the stream. And if you're here in venue, it is, of course, to Duncan and Lynn. But let's get into it. Good luck, athletes.
Thank you, John. And we are now over halfway through this 2023 British Swimming Championships from Ponds Forge here in Sheffield. Really fantastic arena. 4 events for you this morning, just 4. It's going to be a quick session. Women's 200 metres backstroke, then men's 100 fly. Jimmy Guy, we will see him for the first time. Britain's double Olympic champion. Women's 100 metres freestyle, can't wait for that one. The 200 meeting the 50, and then the men's 200 metres breaststroke. But Amy, I'm going to start with a really interesting announcement from British Swimming. They put it out this morning, and I'll read it very slowly and carefully. It says, British Swimming have put out a selection advisory. They've removed the limit on the number of discretionary selections for the World Championships. So there are now no more limit on the number of discretionary selections. They had a limit of 8. So you had to either qualify automatically with a really tough time or do a consideration time where they would consider you if you'd done that time. They've now removed, and then there was 8 discretionary selections that they could make. They've removed that cap. Got to be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a little bit of pressure off the athletes, especially those finishing 3rd, 4th, 5th in those women's 100-metre freestyle events, like the men's 100 freestyle last night. And it just gives a lot more opportunity for those swimmers to be in contention for a relay spot without only kind of picking between 1 or 2 of those swimmers.
Indeed, and those relays, so important to have the opportunity to qualify those relays at these World Championships in July this year. There is another opportunity at the next World Championships, which are bizarrely in Doha in February, but that's really a lottery. So if you can qualify that relay at this coming World Championships for the next Olympics in Paris next year, super idea, maximise our chances, remove the cap on the discretionary selections. That's come out from British Swimming this morning. Great idea, it really is. So 8 heats there are of the women's 200 metres backstroke. Heat 3 to 8 in this session. There'll be a very short session of heats at lunchtime for the slightly slower heats. But this is Heat 3 of the women's 200 backstroke, and Madeleine Soper, of University of Nottingham in lane 4, Chloe Harrison 3, and Katie Lee of Salford in lane number 5.
Yeah, really interesting race to start off with this morning. The 200 backstroke for me was one of my favourite events, but it had that love-hate relationship. Very, very tough to pace the 200 backstroke right, to make sure that those legs are a little bit fresh towards the end. It's really hard to get it exactly spot on.
And, well, to get it right, Amy, I mean, it's tactically interesting, not only how fast you swim each part of each 4 lengths of this race, but which part of the body you use and when. When do you go to legs? Do you use your legs really hard down the first 50, 75, 100, or do you just drag them and make sure that they're there for the second half?
I would use the legs a lot in the backstroke for balance in particular. So the first 100, really just keeping that rhythm of the arms and not slipping, making sure that you're rotating. And then this third 50 was when I would advise starting to bring those legs in. Not too much that you're giving everything on this third 50, but really starting to wind it up a little bit, because if those legs are dropping and that stroke rate's dropping, you're going to sit in that V position with your hips quite low.
Very, very interesting from Amy there. And also, I guess if you stick your head back a little bit, that allows you to get your hips up a little bit on the backstroke. And Amy, I was just watching Libby Monday, closest to us, right at the bottom there, from Kingston upon Hull, and she was doing exactly what you were saying. Very fascinating. Yeah,
really worked there on that third 50. She was out really well still on that first 100, but started to dig in a little bit more on that third 50 and took a little bit of ground away from those swimmers in the middle of the pool.
Well, the swimmers in the middle trying to come back at Libby Monday. I'm not sure they've seen her right at the bottom of this shot. Look at that in that pink suit of Kingston. Well, her lifetime best entry is 2:21.6, and she's going very well indeed. It could well be under 2:20 here, and if she can do that, what a swim that would be. 2:21.6, 2:19.6. 2-second lifetime best for Libby Monday in lane 0 in this Heat 3 of 8 of the women's 200 backstroke.
Very good there, and nice smile on her face. The very first heat, and we're spoilt already with a personal best time and a win from one of those outside lanes. And we've seen that happen plenty of time at the British Championships. Those swimmers that are maybe not seeded in the centre have really used that opportunity of being kind of the underdog in the outside and have got in, executed their race plan perfectly, and we're seeing lots of really fast swims from those outside lanes.
Just waiting for confirmation of the result of that first heat that we've seen. It is Heat 3. Heats 1 and 2 will be swum at, in the lunchtime session. British Swimming trying to put 6 heats of each event in this morning session, trying to just make it as uniform as possible. Try and replicate some of the big meets, not have it too long in the morning, but equally not have it too short. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it gives those swimmers that are probably more guaranteed to be back in one of those finals a little bit more opportunity for rest. But what it also does means is the swimmers in the middle session have then got something to really aim for from those times that they've seen set in the morning session to make it into maybe one of those junior finals.
Also, not quite so long to wait if they don't make it into the final session to come back and watch the final. So we've got some absolute superstars. That men's 100 metres freestyle last night, just extraordinary. Four Olympians, I think, were in there. 3 Olympic champions in there. Duncan Scott, the most medalled British Olympian in Olympic history in any one meet. There we go. Confirmation of the result of that first heat that we've seen, Heat 3, women's 200 backstroke. Libby Monday winning at 2:19.63, a 2-second lifetime best.
Yeah, good to see her there under 2:20. That's one of those barriers, really, that's quite hard to break in the 200 backstroke. And then, as you're in seniors, you're in that 2:10 barrier. So really good swim from her this morning. Paced it very well.
Caitlin Ebbage of Tunbridge, the fastest seed in this Heat 4 of the women's 200 backstroke. In 3, Blythe Kinsman of Mount Kelly. There is Ebbage in 4. Up in lane 7, Evangeline Pierce of Basildon and Phoenix in this women's 200 backstroke, coached by Doug Campbell himself, an international backstroker, very good indeed. Really was a fantastic stalwart of swimming in the pool, and now, of course, coaching at Basildon and Phoenix, is swimmer in lane number 7 up there in the orange hat. That is Evangeline Pierce of Basildon and Phoenix. Pretty even down this first 50, Amy.
Yeah, Blythe Kingsman there had a really good start in lane 3. Really worked that underwater phase, not only with the distance, but the speed of those underwater kicks. So that first 50 there, definitely helping get down nice and relaxed.
And Blythe Kinsman from Mount Kelly. I actually saw the headmaster of Mount Kelly here supporting the team. That's fantastic to see him here, Guy Ayling. Well done to take the commitment to actually come all the way up from Tavistock in Devon. Beautiful campus it is there. And coming up to support the team. But look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 swimmers right in a line at the halfway mark of this heat 4 of 8 heats of women's 200 backstroke.
Yeah, the rotation speed there from those girls in the centre and really using that turn well. It was Kate Morris who turned first to the 100, so really used that underwater phase there, coming up about 7 or 8 metres and definitely helping her down this third 50. She's starting to build that stroke rate a little bit, so her arm speed is picking up a tiny bit as she comes into the turn for the last length here.
Kate Morris in the green hat of Nova Centurion in 5, maybe just starting to pull away a little bit, trying to go with her is Blythe Kinsman. And as you said, Amy, that's the start was very good indeed. A little bit more of a tired turn there, I have to say.
Yeah, she went over in second then, came out on that underwater phase just ahead. So even though she's maybe being caught up a little bit in the swimming, she's really using the turns to help her get that little bit ahead of her competitors.
Well, Blythe Kinsman in the white hat, she looked a little tired going into that last turn, but she's swimming very well down this last 50. 10 metres to go in this heat 4 of the women's 200 backstroke. Up there in lane 5 in the green hat, Kate Morris of Nova Centurion. Looks like she may get the touch. I think she does, yes. 2:19.77. Just 100 slower than the time that won the first heat that we saw this morning. Gabrielle Freeman second in lane number 1. Third was Blythe Kinsman of Mount Kelly. 2:20.1, and that's a new lifetime best for her.
Yeah, another good swim there, sub 2:20, so 2:19.77 wins heat number 4, Kate Morris. Really tight down in 3rd, 4th, 5th, all around that 2:20.234 mark. So those final places tonight looking really tight in that 2:20 mark at the moment. So the girls in heat 5 will have seen the time that those girls have set previously, and that's their benchmark if they want to be back in that all exciting final session.
And plenty of opportunities British swimming have given these athletes to come back and swim again in that final session. There are 4 different finals. The junior final, they put on a priority Paris final for another 8 athletes, generally aiming that at junior athletes who are making that breakthrough from junior to senior. Then there's the B final and then the A final. So 32 athletes can come back and swim in the finals this evening. It's a great idea. Sophie Bromley, fastest seed in 4 from City of Sheffield. That was Rose Gubbins of Nova Centurion in lane number 5. The black hat right in the centre, but probably the best start coming in lane number 2, I think that was. Lane 0 closest to us, and 2 is Tegan Matthews of Guildford City in that black hat.
Yeah, Tegan there maximising that underwater phase. So in backstroke in particular, the 15-metre mark, which is the red line on the pool, is so important to try and get near to. If your head breaks out past the 15-metre mark, you're then disqualified, but you want to be right on that line. And Libby Freeman there really building through that second 25 of our opening 50. Starting to pick up that stroke rate. She's maybe not had the best start, but she's really, really getting into the race now.
She's gone quite early as well here, Amy. This is the 75-metre mark in this 200 backstroke. Head quite high, kicking still quite strongly, but she's gone pretty early from lane 0. I wonder tactically whether she's gone too early or whether she can hold on to this, because this is a really gutsy swim. I love the way she's attacking it.
Yeah, she has one of the fastest personal best times in the pool, so although she might have not had the best season's best so far, obviously that seeds her in one of those outside lanes. So I'm sure she's thinking, right, at the British Championships now where I've had a little bit of rest, it's time for me to try and get back near my best time. And she's gone off really, really well there.
So at the bottom of the picture, Libby Freeman of Morpeth just starting to get caught. Maybe just overtaking her up there in lane number 5 is Rose Gubbins of Nova Centurion. And right at the top of the screen there is lane 8, Annabelle Crease of Leamington Spa, but over first by about 2 meters. Really good second half of that third length there from Rose Gubbins in 5.
Yeah, it's so important in especially 200 meter swimming not to leave everything until the last length. A lot of the time swimmers will turn and then start to turn the engine on and start to work down the last 50, but it's so important to build into the wall, because if you go in fast, you come off fast and carry that momentum.
Indeed it is. That tennis ball idea, throw it in hard and it comes back hard. If you throw it in softly, it just drops to the floor. She went in hard and came out really well. And this Rose Gubbins, her lifetime best 2:18.7. She's just gone 2:17.6, 1.1 second lifetime best to win heat 5 of the women's 200 backstroke. Rose Gubbins of Nova Centurion. Well, if you know Rose, send her a text and say congratulations. That's a fantastic swim for her.
Yeah, big smiles there from those two girls in the centre of the pool. And it's nice when you get to a meet like this and you can perform at your best, because you train so hard all year. Maybe just quite get those seasons best, so to come to the British Championships and execute it when it matters, and fingers crossed with that 2:17.62, she'll be in a chance to make it back into a final.
Well, that was the last of the unseeded heats in the women's 200 metres backstroke. Now we've got the fastest 30 swimmers in Great Britain, and the fastest seed in this, the first of the 3 seeded heats, is Freya Colbert of Loughborough Performance Centre. Goodness me, what a fantastic 400 medley she had. Automatic qualifying time she made. Also 1 gold on the 800 free, but that 400 medley, I know you're a 400 medley specialist, Amy, but you must have been impressed with that.
Yeah, very good to see her break through in that event. She was 4th at the Commonwealth Games last year and finished really strong, so to see her take nearly 4 seconds off her personal best to get that time was really impressive.
There is Freya Colbert in the black hat of Loughborough Performance Centre. Really reacted well to her new training environment with Dave Hemmings there. Super group of athletes they've got. Well, something not quite right. Starter not comfortable with something. A little bit of noise, I think, behind the starting blocks. There are some athletes doing dry land warm-ups, and they've been using medicine balls and slamming them really hard, which obviously is not great to have at the start of the 200 metres backstroke. Right in the centre, Freya Colbert. World-class 400 medley to win that on the first night. So Colbert in 4, Rachel Anderson in 5, Pia Murray of Leyland Barracudas in 3, Iona Colbert, I'm guessing sister of Freya. Freya in 4 and Iona in 6.
Yeah, I've heard Iona's the slightly better backstroke swimmer, even though she's a little bit younger than Freya. So Freya, having worked on that this year, we saw her backstroke leg improve a lot in that 400 individual medley. So I'm pretty excited to see what she's got in this 200 backstroke, because she's gone out really well. She does have a quite a high turnover in the backstroke in comparison to some of those more 200 backstroke specialists, but she's really nailed that turn there, and she's using those skills that she's worked so much on this year. And I think this 200 backstroke from her will be another great event to add to her schedule.
Well, here in the centre, Freya Colbert looks really good. Dave Hemmings seems to have set up his athletes to really go for it in the heats, and they seem to have their race plan, their ultimate perfect race plan, and they seem to be trying to attack it from the start, right in the heats, practicing those race plans. Interesting strategy when you don't have to go that quick to make it through to the final. Look how far ahead she is, Amy.
Yeah, Freya here, 2-3 meters ahead of the rest of the field, but she's qualified for that 400 individual medley at the World Championships. So she didn't have the quickest 400 medley heat, and it probably didn't hurt that much. So maybe she's working on that this morning, hurting herself this morning a little bit more to practice getting up in those heats and swimming fast. But she looks very comfortable here, not really using her legs a lot, so she's just keeping that balance from the kick, and over in 1:37.2. So a very solid heat swim so far.
Well, her lifetime best is 2:11.5, and she's going to be right on that. And for a heat swim at the British Championships, when you're about 6 or 7 meters ahead of the rest of the field, this is very impressive indeed. I still can't quite believe just how brilliant that 400 medley was on the first night. I was hoping that she'd get somewhere close to the consideration time. She smashed through that. and went an automatic qualification time. First person to guarantee a seat on the plane to the World Championships. 2:11.31. Well, that is a new lifetime best for Freya Colvert, diving into the finish. 25 100s thumbs up, and she's delighted. Well done. She's having a cracking meet.
Yeah, when you're on form and you know you're swimming really well, the next event you're almost looking forward to rather than kind of worrying, how am I going to swim? How's it going to go? What have I got to do? So it's great to see her stand up this morning and swim a personal best in that 200 backstroke. We don't often see that from senior international swimmers, swimming that quick in the morning, but 2:11.31, brilliant swim from her, and she's been working on a backstroke, so why not get in this morning and give it a shot?
Winning heat 6 of the women's 200 backstroke in a new lifetime best, Freya Colbert from Loughborough Performance Centre, 2:11.31. Pia Murray second, Rachel Anderson third, Holly Marshall fourth. So that's heat 6 of 8. The fastest 30 swimmers in these last 3 heats. Heat 7 sees Evie Dilliers, the fastest seed from Millfield School, with Honey Osrin of Loughborough University in 5. And then in the final heat, we've got Katie Shanahan, who, well, maybe a little bit in the shadow there of Freya Colbert, coming second on that 400 medley. But we really should say that was an awesome swim on her 400 medley to get the silver, was it not? Yeah,
really good to see her in the 400 individual medley. I know it's not her favourite event, but she's so good at it, and she favours the 200 backstroke, so she's coming up in the next heat this morning.
Dillian 4, Osrin 5. Second last heat of the women's 200 backstroke. Only 4 events this morning. 15 metres allowed underwater. Wow, 14 used there right in the centre in the green hats. Evie Dilly of Millfield School. Really good technically, really good underwater. And it is faster, if you get it right, to swim underwater in the backstroke with that butterfly kick than it is swimming backstroke on the top. I've got to say, still trying to get my head around that. I know it's true because it is, but it just doesn't sound like it's possible.
I suppose the fluid dynamics here try and be a little bit technical. There's less of them underwater because you're not breaking into that air and into that surface, so you're travelling a lot faster when you're underwater, and you're getting full power because every time you kick, you then kick water instead of air, so you do travel a lot faster, and it's really important to use that in the backstroke because it's so difficult to hold your breath as well and hold that oxygen on your back versus on your front, so it's a difficult thing to be able to get right. And these 200 backstroke swimmers, I have no doubt, will be working on that time and time again in training.
And they certainly will have to if they want to get to the top of the world, because the very best in the world do it brilliantly. Good turn there in 3 from Neem Ward of University of Bath. Evie Dilly again really good underwater in the green hat in the centre. And she's only made up about, I don't know, 15 centimetres or so, but you've got to work very hard down the length to catch up 15 centimetres. And all it was just a slightly tighter streamline and really good little whip kicks underwater.
Yeah, and when you come up either level or just ahead of somebody who you went in behind, it gives you that little bit of a confidence boost as well, which you can then use down the second 50. And Evie Dilly here is a very strong returning 200 backstroke swimmer, so I wouldn't be surprised if she almost negative splits this with the way that she's going.
She looks very strong, Amy. This is impressive. It really is. The green hat in the centre from Millfield School. Evie Dilly, well, she's qualifies as a junior, so she can do the European junior qualification time on this 200 backstroke, which is 2:15.63. And I think she's going to be under it. She's going to be close, but I think she could well be under it. Lifetime best is 2:11. 2:15.6 is the time she's trying to achieve, and she's done it by miles. 2:13.7. Very good swim. Actually, not even a best time. I'm sure we'll see that in the finals this evening, and that will give her a cracking chance of making a decent lane this evening for the finals. Yeah, it will indeed, and she swam very well paced there. She returned very fast. She was out 66 point, can't remember exactly, but to finish in a 2:13.7, she swam that race very evenly paced. So that'll give her a lot of confidence tonight, knowing she's really strong on that returning 100. Impressive from the Millfield School student, Evie Dilly, 2:13.7, winning the second last heat of the women's 200 metres backstroke. Wallace second, Ward third, Osrin fourth. Some good times there as well. 2:15 fourth in heat 7. Well, here she is, Katie Shanahan, going in lane number 4, silver on that 400 medley. Got a consideration time for the World Championships. Commonwealth Games bronze medal I think she got on the 200 metres backstroke, Amy.
Yeah, she adds that to the 400 individual medley. We know she's a tough competitor, trains really hard, just like Freya, so it'll be interesting to see how these two match up in the 200 metres backstroke.
Loved her reaction at the Commonwealth Games when she got that medal. It was just a joy, it really was. She's in that purple suit with the yellow on it, the black hat. Something again not quite right here. The starter's not happy. I think they're just looking for a little bit of noise again behind the blocks. A couple of the starters just gone in search of the noise. Here we go. Or maybe there's something in the pool. There's a chap just coming from the left-hand side. I don't know if you can see him. Just there he is. He's got a net. So he's going to try and... I don't think it's a butterfly. There must be something in the pool that they've got to get out.
A hat, maybe. Quite often, swimmers will lose the hat in those races, or the lane ropes maybe not quite in the right position, but whatever it is, it's out. And the next heat can get started. So it's not always nice when you have to be delayed, but you see Katie there sat down in the middle lane. So like I said yesterday, when there's a bit of a delay, you want to just get away from the block, sit down, chill out, refocus, and really good from her to see that.
It's moments like those that it's quite hard to practice for, but it's amazing how often that actually happens in a meet. And I know Michael Phelps was brilliant at thinking of different things that could put him off, and then thinking of coping strategies to just make sure that he was ready to go. So he thought of all sorts of different things, including that scenario, and just tried to make sure that he was happy mentally.
Yeah, the first time it happens, especially if you're really ready and you're after a really good swim and then you're kind of delayed and not really sure what to do. Once you've done it once, you then think, right, how am I going to cope with that again?
So Katie Shanahan, the fastest seed in this final heat of the women's 200 backstroke. She's in lane 4, and look at the start that she's got. Well, if you stop the race there, Amy, she's won it by about half a metre from the swimmer up in lane number 7, Rue Fowler, but the rest of the field, she's won it by about a metre.
Yeah, she had a lovely starting position as well. We saw that nice close-up shot of Katie on the block with her chest really high and her head back, and she wasn't all hunched in, and that really helps to get that power and acceleration into the underwater phase.
Well, she's brilliant underwater. There's 2, 3 kicks, 4, 5, 6. Gone into the timing system, so I lost count at 6, but very good indeed. And she looks comfortable underwater as well. She really does. And Katie Shanahan, well, I kind of feel like she's one of those athletes that I've been talking about for a long time, but she's actually still really young and relatively inexperienced. I don't think she's been to a World Championships before, so it will be her first one, I think, when she goes on the plane, and I'm sure she will, to Fukuoka, Japan in July of this year. 64.8 to her feet is a good start.
Yeah, very good start from her there. Slightly faster than we saw in the heat before. And what a turn there. Almost 12 metres underwater, which is so difficult to do, especially in the 200 backstroke. We see a lot more distance covered in that 100, but really well executed there. So she's definitely been working on that, because you can't do that without practicing that day in, day out.
And we'll talk about it one more time in this heat. That 400 medley that she swam behind Freya Colmert to get the silver medal was one of the most impressive swims I think I've seen in Great Britain. To come second, she was 4 seconds outside of the qualification time and came and did a brilliant swim there, and another fabulous turn, Amy.
Yeah, they're so good. She's so tidy and so streamlined underwater, and it's just really helping her here this morning. It'll be taking a lot of stress off the actual swimming part, because she's covering almost 13 metres of it underwater.
Well, she was just under 65 seconds at the 100 metres. Let's see how she does here. She's going to go about 65, 66, I would imagine. Good swim, 2:11.5. So it was, I think, a 65 and then a 66, 64.8 and a 66.8, something like that. Very good, even splits, and on 200 backstroke. Slightly unusual to have just a 1 second drop, but it's so impressive.
It happens quite a lot, I think, in female swimming, especially, well, when I was younger, I could never get out fast enough in the first 100 backstroke and would almost come back very similar in the second 100 metres. So it's not uncommon in the 200 backstroke for some reason. I think because the race is so demanding, you almost don't push yourself too hard too early, and it's very difficult to go fast on backstroke unless you've increased that stroke rate. But if you do that in the 200, it's going to take lots and lots of energy. But Katie there, she has that lovely long stroke, almost that nice rhythm throughout the whole race. And yeah, she finishes really well there in a pretty swift time. So she should be happy with that. Looked really comfortable. And 2:11.58 was Katie Shanahan to lead the Heat 8.
So Shanahan goes into the finals as the fastest seed, I think. I think that's the results of Heat 8. Now official, 2:11.58. McGill second, Fowler third, Major fourth. And I think we will see the qualifiers for this evening's finals. No, we'll give you those later, but I think certainly Katie Shanahan will have secured a centre lane in that final of the 200 backstroke, and that's going to be an interesting scrap, isn't it? Her and Freya Colbert both look fabulous.
Yeah, they both look really comfortable this morning, and they will be in those centre 2 lanes again tonight in that final. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top tonight, but there are those World Championship times that maybe they're looking to achieve, even though both of those swimmers will have already secured a place on the plane. It's nice to know that you're on form and you're swimming well in one of your other favourite events, and I know Katie prefers this 200 backstroke to the 400 IM.
Well, Katie and Freya, Evie Dilly will be right in there in the centre too for Millfield School. Next event up, just 4 events this morning. We've just had the women's 200 backstroke. Now we've got the men's 100 fly Heat 1, and I've said that British Swimming have tried to get 6 heats per event. We've actually got 7 heats of the men's 100 fly because there's just 4 extra swimmers to make up the 7th heat, so they've decided to swim all 7 heats in this morning's session. Eminently sensible. Liam Dawson of Deventio, the fastest seed in 4. Edward Marsalis Whittles of Chelsea in 5. Well, actually the swimmer in lane 4, Liam Dawson, has scratched, so just 3 swimmers in this first heat of the men's 100 fly.
Yeah, Edward Marcel Whittles there in lane number 5, so on the 400 individual medley last night. So I'm a 3-second personal best, so you have lots of confidence when you know you're swimming well and you're coming into the next day, but tough ask after last night. Will have taken a lot out of him to swim 2 quick swims in one day, but down that first 50 flight really well, and these boys already using that underwater work and those skills, so I think we'll see a lot of good turns in this men's 100 metres butterfly.
Interesting double as well, 400 medley, then 100 fly, and very even down this second 50 of the first heat of the men's 100 metres butterfly. The red hat up there in lane 6 is Matthew Aldred of Watford. And Matthew head down now inside this last 5. Oh, breathed 1 stroke out. Oh, my goodness. Well, if he can just stick his head down a little bit more inside that last 5, he can go even quicker. 56.62 is a new lifetime best by 0.3 of a second. He's delighted. And I think he can go even faster.
Yeah, he certainly can. Obviously, to swim a personal best, you're chuffed no matter what, but I'm sure he'll go back and watch that and straight away pick up on some of those things. And especially in these butterfly events, we see at world level, golds, silvers and bronzes lost by fractions of a second. So swimming really well there, under his PB, 56.62.
So a PB for the winner, and Edward Marsalis Whittles right on his lifetime best as well. Equal lifetime best for him, so very good swimming in the first heat of 7. This is heat 2 of 7. Thomas Sansom of Loughborough University in 4. Gavrish of Dawlish in 3. Second heat of the men's 100 metres butterfly. Allowed 15 metres underwater, coming up about 13 to 14 metres there. And Rory McKinnon of Glasgow up in lane number 7 had a good start. And right at the very top, Brodie Gordon-Gibson of Warren de Bath, very good start indeed.
Yeah, and it's different to see these breathing strategies down the first length. Quite often in the 50, you'll see boys swim the whole race without a breath, maybe sneaking one in at 35. In the 200, we see a lot of boys breathing every 1, but we're getting a little bit of mix in this 100 metres fly. Some breathing every 2, some breathing every 2-1, and top of the screen there, who led out to 50 breathing every stroke.
Well, Brodie going really well at the top in that red hat of Warren de Bath Club. Brodie Gordon-Gibson, lifetime best of 56.87. Just tying up a little bit now, breathing every stroke now. Head down, or head up again right on the last stroke, but 55.7 A 1 second lifetime best from lane 9 in heat 2 of the British Championships men's 100 metres butterfly. A full second lifetime best from Brodie Gordon-Gibson. Well done, sir.
Yeah, he really made the difference there off the turn. So that 50 to 75 metre mark, he really turned on the engine, started to pull away, and just did enough there to hang on into the finish. So fantastic swim. Only swimmer there under that 56-second barrier so far. So 57.77 is leading the way.
Well, the first 4 doing lifetime bests, and I haven't got down to Gavrish in 5 to check whether he did or not, but certainly the first 4 lifetime bests there. Really, really good swimming at this British Championships 2023. Here is heat 3. Rattling through these heats, they really are. There's 2 juniors in this. They can qualify for the European Junior Championships as well as 4 other junior meets this summer. Anthony Whittle in 3, he's a junior. Jack Knight of Cardiff in 4, and another junior in 5, Henry Gray of Chelsea and Westminster. So just 0.26 of a second splitting this entire field in heat 3 of the men's 100 metres butterfly. Really tight on entry times.
Yeah, everybody in this event will want to be even in that individual event in the summer, but also part of those relays. Great Britain have been so successful in this men's 4x1 medley in particular over the last couple of years, and a lot of these swimmers will be thinking, I want to be in that team in a couple of years' time, whether it's in Paris or whether it's in LA.
Jack Knight, 25.2. That is a quick time. Well, if you can even half bring it back off a 25.2, that's an extraordinarily quick time. You can go 54 easily and maybe 53. His entry time's 56.2. Just starting to tire a little bit, but he's holding on pretty well. Slightly light of stature, but a really good technical 100 metres butterfly here. Jack Knight in the centre. They're charging at him. Henry Gray, 1 lane up from him, is having a good old crack, but who gets the touch? Knight gets it, 55.37. Gray second, 55.50. 2 huge lifetime bests for those first 2 finishes. Very good swim from Knight and from Gray.
Yeah, even though Knight there was tying up a little bit, he didn't breathe into that last 6-7 metres from the wall, so it made all the difference there, and he was our winner by just a fraction of a second. I think it was 0.1 in the end that he managed to win that race by, so very important to think about those skills, and he did that last 10 metres of the race very well.
Well, he certainly did, and the first 3 finishes sub 56, and none of them was seeded under 56.28. 55.3, 55.5, 55.7, there we go, there's the result. Jack Knight winning it, Henry Gray second, Whittle third. 55.37 when you've got an entry time of 56.2. Jack Knight, Cardiff, well done. Men's 100 fly heat 4. Really getting through these, the last of the unseeded heats. There's 4 juniors in this heat in lanes 1, 4, 6 and 8, and in 8 Dean Fern, the 15-year-old from Aberdeen, and the time that the juniors will be looking for, well, it's very swift. 53.98 is the qualifying time for the juniors.
Yeah, that is a very, very quick time for these boys, and some of our European junior swimmers I think have got the chance to do those times in the heat or the final, so why not get up, stand up and swim fast this morning.
Well, there's 3 more heats after this one, and there's 4 more juniors still to come, so there's plenty of talent to attack that 53.98 junior qualification time. But down this first 25 metres or so, it looks like lane number 6, Jake Hutchinson of Leicester.
Yeah, out really well here. Got a very high turnover, but looks so powerful in that front of the stroke. So he's breathing every one, but his chin's so close to the surface, you almost can't see that he's breathing, and gets round that wall very fast.
Well, 25.1 at the wall for actually Dean Fern up there in lane number 8, the junior. The rest of the guys 25.4, 5s and 6s, but Dean Fern was going very well at the top in lane number 8, just getting a little bit tired and coming back now a little bit quicker in 6s. Jake Hutchinson, who had such a good start, the Leicester man. He's getting tired as well. It's going to be real tight on this finish. Who gets the touch? Maybe it was 3, it was. Alexander Painter of Millfield. 54.94 for Alexander Painter. Another 1 second lifetime best. The lifetime best in this meet are incredible.
Yeah, they really are. And Jake Hutchinson there, also in the centre of the pool, 55.1 under his entry time. So Very good. Archie Minto there, third, 55.42. Very tight between him and fourth.
And the fastest seed was 55.8. Look at that. Fifth was 55.8 in the actual race. So fastest one coming in. That's extraordinary. Some brilliant swimming in these heats. And I think British swimming getting what it's asking for in terms of season's bests and lifetime bests in the arena when the pressure comes, when it matters, and then having to step up into one of those 32 slots for the finals.
Yeah, indeed. And into heat number 5 now. So the first of our seeded heats this morning. Ed Mildred, there he is in the centre of the pool, the white hat, lane number 4.
Interesting, 2 feet together on the blocks until take your marks, and then at the command, just put 1 foot back. That's an interesting reaction. Didn't have his foot back ready to go before that, but a very good first 25 from Mildred, also from Josh Gammon in 5. Yeah,
these boys now really starting to pick up the pace. They've got to fight for these places in the air final. It will be very, very, very close. So Ed Mildred's also a brilliant 200 butterfly swimmer, so we should see him returning quick. But Joshua Gammon there turns first, 24.40. Mildred in second, 24.46.
Well, 24.4, they can come back and go close to maybe under 53 seconds, and that would be good. Lifetime best 51.7 for Ed Mildred in lane number 4. Season's best also 51.7. Just tying a little bit in the white hat. Josh Gammon in the black hat just above him, just finishing slightly better. 52.8 wins it for Josh Gammon. 53.02 was Mildred. And 53.48 was Brian Leong of Chelsea and Westminster. Really good lifetime best for him.
Yeah, first and third there, swimming under their lifetime best. So have probably seen the benchmark now, these boys in heat number 6. They know they've got that time to aim for if they want to be back in one of those finals. And Josh Gammon there is leading that. The only swimmer so far under 53 seconds.
So heat 6 of the men's 100 metres butterfly, 7 heats in total. So 20 of the fastest 30. There, look at that tattoo. Wow. Well, if you're going to have a tattoo with the Olympic rings on it, why not stick it right smack bang in the middle of your chest? Jacob Peters of Bath Performance Centre. Great fly swimmer, Jacob Peters, from the Bath Performance Centre, starting in lane 4. Look at the start he's had. Well, fabulous tattoo all over his chest, and he looks like he's got a pretty good one on his back as well. He really quick down his first 25.
Yeah, he had a really good start. Jacob prefers the 50 and the 100 to the 100 and 200, so we would expect him to be out pretty quick, slightly quicker than Ed Mildred was in the heat before. So he just turned 23.81, so really, really strong down that first 50.
7 kicks underwater for Jacob Peterson, using about 13 metres off the turn, 14 metres off the start. Very impressive. Peters in 4, Lewis Fraser in 5. In 3, it's Thomas Carswell of Edinburgh. And these 3 guys quite a long way ahead of the rest of the field. The consideration time for the World Championships, 51.56. It's a good swim. Let's see what it is. 51.68. So it's just 12 100ths of a second outside the consideration time that's set by British swimming to qualify for the World Championships. But with the cap on discretionary selections removed now, I wouldn't be too surprised if that's going to be certainly grabbing the attention of the selectors for a place on the plane to Fukuoka in July.
Yeah, obviously Jacob's got to replicate that swim again tonight, but 51.68, just off his personal best, and he looked very comfortable there coming into the finish, so nice and controlled, and there's probably a bit more in the tank there from Jacob tonight.
Well, he pretty much has to go lifetime best just to do the consideration time, but was only 12 100ths of a second outside of it, and I think that's really good for British swimming, because we have now someone properly world class already in the heats. The final heat, Guy in 4. Our double Olympic champion James Guy goes in lane number 4 in this, the final heat of the men's 100 metres butterfly, and a really classy fly swimmer he is with a red hat. Didn't have the best start though. Jamie Ingram just sneaked it on the start. First time we've seen Guy this week, and he's looking good.
Yeah, James Guy's one of those swimmers that we know for Great Britain we can count on. We've seen him often in the 100 freestyle, the 200 freestyle, but choosing not to do that yesterday and focus on this 100 fly. Turns in 24.16.
Well, 24.1 is a very good first 50. Breathing every stroke there. Interesting tactics to do it like that. I would have thought he might stick his head down. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. Ingram looks really good from City of Manchester, though. Maybe just edging it a little bit. Doesn't look like James Guy is full bore this morning. Just maybe getting rid of the cobwebs. He hasn't raced for a little bit, so see the touch. 52.34, 52.44 was second, so 52.3, 52.4 for those first two. Solid, reasonably impressive. I think job done there, Amy, would you say?
Yeah, we just saw James there quickly and shot at the end, and it didn't look really like it hurt that much. He looked very controlled there. Didn't really stick his head down too early as well, just the last stroke, so great to finish there in 52.3.
So there's the summary of qualifiers for the final this evening. Peters in fastest, Fraser second, Guy in third, Ingram in fourth. So it's going to be a very, very good final, that one. Delighted to see Jacob Peters going so quickly. Top 16, Jake Hutchison gets into the B final by 4/100ths of a second from James Cleaver. But 32 swimmers allowed to come back this evening, so that's going to be a really great set of finals tonight.
Yeah, it will indeed. And we knew it was going to be close in that 100 butterfly, but James Guy there, as I said, looking really comfortable, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's down there in that 51 barrier, even close to 51 flat. I think tonight we will probably see. Just looking really relaxed.
He did look very relaxed indeed, didn't he? We were walking in actually behind him this morning, you and I, Emmy, and we're going, Jimmy, guy, oi, oi. He had his headphones. He didn't hear us at all, did he? Totally in his own world. Lovely chap, I've got to say. Wonderful chap.
Yeah, he is, and good job we didn't take offence, so it's all right, Jimmy, when you watch this back.
Well, he's won them all, hasn't he? Double Olympic champion, he's been individual world champion, he's been relay world champion, he's been relay Olympic medalist as well. I mean, just absolutely everything. I feel like I've been commentating on him for years and years. He's 27, so he's getting towards the more senior years of his career, certainly, but what a servant for British swimming. Really has been wonderful. Part of that senior squad of men and women that Britain have got at the moment. So heat 3 of the women's 100 metres freestyle. Heats 1 and 2 in the afternoon session. This is heat 3 of 8. So heat 3 of 8 of the women's 100 metres freestyle, and May Bradburn of Basildon and Phoenix in lane number 4. I should just tell you, we just lost our graphics just for the moment, so we'll keep on giving you as much updates as we can from the scoreboard, but we'll do our very best to make sure you get as much information as you can.
Yeah, we will indeed. And going out well at the bottom of the pool. Lovely straight arm stroke in lane 0. It is Jessica Calderbank. No, sorry. Over there, the first at the turn is Theodore Taylor, 27.31.
Well, Theodora Taylor's 14 years of age up there in lane number 7. 14, and look at this first 50 of 100 freestyle. Through to about 75, 80 metres now. Can she bring it home? She's going really well. The orange hat in lane number 4 is May Bradburn, but Theodora Taylor, the 14-year-old, this is really impressive. Look at this. Wow, 57.19, only just outside the European Junior consideration time. Well, you can be born in 2005 to qualify for the European Junior. She's born in 2009, and she's just 1 second outside the QT.
Yeah, very good swim from her there. What we didn't see is she was almost breathing every 4, every 6, so she wasn't breathing every 2 on that 100 freestyle. Kept her head down for the last 6 metres, and 57.12 she finishes.
Well, lifetime best for the first, I think, 3 finishes there. And really good swimming in the very first heat that we will see. It was heat 3, 2 heats, 2 slowest heats in the afternoon session. This is heat 4 of 8 of the women's 100 free. Sophie Freeman, the fastest seed in 4. Betsy Wizard in 5. Clementine Lavelle of Loughborough in 3.
Yeah, Sophie Yendel there, up in lane 7. So 50 fly medalist from earlier in the week.
Yeah, very fast indeed. Didn't she win the 50 fly in lane number 7?
Yeah, she was very good. I think she almost surprised herself to start with. So she's off really well here. She has that excellent underwater phase because she's that 50 butterfly swimmer, 50 freestyle swimmer. So be interesting to see what she does here. Has a lovely long stroke in comparison to some of the other sprinters. There's not a lot of splash coming from her arms at all with that lovely high elbow.
And the Mount Kelly student first to turn down the bottom here, Beth Hall in lane number 2. Beth split 27.50 at the 50. Hit the wall well, breathing to her left-hand side. Well, she was breathing 2. She's just breathed 6 with that white hat down here. Also going well now in 4 is Sophie Freeman of Colchester. So it's Sophie in the centre in 4 with a black hat, just overtaking now Beth Hall of Mount Kelly in 2. And the rest of the field starting to come back. Hall's reacted again. Hall in 2. Who's going to get the touch? It is Sophie Freeman, 57.50. Beth Hall, 57.57 in second. A new lifetime best for both of those women.
Yeah, really good to see Sophie there down that second 50. She went to those legs off the turn, knew she had to drive them all the way into the wall and got head down there and just pips Beth Hall behind her. So very great finish.
Well, lifetime best for at least the first 3. I haven't got past their graphics back, which is great to see. Thank goodness for that. Sophie Freeman, Colchester, winning heat 4, new lifetime best. Beth Hall, great swim from her from Mount Kelly in second. Wilson third, Lavelle fourth. First 5 under 58. Heat 5 of 8 heats. And Emma Crocker of South Links has withdrawn, the fastest seed in this, the last of the unseeded heats of the women's 100 metres freestyle. So the fastest now is Annalise Benyon of Cardiff in 5. So Benyon in 5, and this heat 5 of 8 of the women's 100 metres freestyle, the last of the unseeded, and qualification time, well, entry time, 57.1.
Yeah, these girls will be looking to move that on. They've seen the times before, so we're in and around that 57 mark, but off really well here. Huge leg kick down the first 50 metres here. In lane 6 is Katie Goodburn. She is a fantastic breaststroke swimmer as well, so sprint freestyle and breaststroke, but 26.74. I think if I was looking at these relays for the summer, I'd be thinking, how can I get myself onto one of those teams? And this is a great opportunity for her.
Well, it is, and you don't often see a 50 breaststroke, 100 breaststroke sprinter be this good at sprint freestyle. And, you know, technically she's not that bad at all. Decent turnover, trying to hold on to that fast turnover. At the same time, hold on to as much water as she can down this last 5 metres. And Katie Goodburn's just had a cracker. 57.01, new lifetime best for her in lane number 6. And this is the last of the unseeded heats, heat 5 of 8 of the women's 100 freestyle. Little bit of a smile. Come on, Katie, lifetime, fastest you've ever done on 100 free. Yeah,
really good from her there. That benchmark time of 57.01 now is the time to beat. But I wonder if that little smile is because she didn't go 56.99. So, yeah, such a shame when you're the wrong side of a 0-0.
Wow. Well, it's still a lifetime best. You wouldn't have thought if your lifetime best is 57.07 that you could go a lifetime best and still go 57 point, but she's done it. Hopefully she'll get another chance to have another crack at it this evening. So Lucy Hope, Scottish record holder, going in lane number 4, the first of the seeded heats, the fastest 30 swimmers in Great Britain in these next 3 heats. Holly Widows of Mount Kelly in 2, Harriet Rogers of Loughborough in 3, Lucy Hope in 4 of Stirling, Katie Clifton in 5 of Sheffield, and Erin Little of Mount Kelly in 6. So it's really going to hot up now. Fastest seed is the Scottish record holder. Time at, she entered actually 54.8. Her Scottish record 53.8, and she's gone off really quickly down this first 30.
Yeah, Lucy's got a lovely stroke there. She breathes every 2, but she's got nice rhythm to it, and she drives the kick the whole way through the race. She's a very good kicker indeed, and using that to her advantage. She knows she's strong at the back end because she's also a fantastic 200 freestyle swimmer. So out there, 26.63, looking quite comfortable.
Well, she does look good. She is the class of this field in this 100 metres freestyle, but going with her is Katie Clifton of Sheffield. Katie not letting Lucy have it all her own way. Right on the lane line is Lucy Hope, the Scottish record holder. That Scottish record 53.89. I think it's just going to be outside of that 54.9. So just 1 second outside of her lifetime best. And that's a good solid swim in the heats of the women's 100 free. Doesn't look like she's even breathing hard at all. Look at that. In fantastic shape. Look at that. Lean and strong. And my goodness me, she looks wonderful, doesn't she?
Yeah, they've got a great gym program up there as well. Those guys are always in good shape, trying to stay healthy, which is also super important when you come to these championships. So in and around her season's best in the heats is good from Lucy. So be interesting to see what the girls coming up do. I'm excited to see Freya now in lane number 4.
Yeah, so am I. Third fastest Brit in history is Freya Anderson. Won the 200 metres freestyle under the consideration time that the British selectors have set. There she is in that black suit. Really quick, 1:55. Finally, she's made it under the 1:56. She's been on for so long. Freya Anderson in lane 4, Isabella Hinley in 5, Evie Davis in 3. This is a really fast heat and another super start, as you'd expect, from Freya Anderson in lane 4.
Yeah, these girls now, you can see the difference between a couple of the heats before. Their legs really, really going. That powerful motor at the back, driving those arms. But Freya's just got such a lovely long stroke. She uses that length of her arms to her advantage, and she isn't scrappy or small.
So Freya, good turn as well. She's very, very tall, and often when you are as tall as she is, it's not particularly easy to get the coordination, but what a beautiful freestyle stroke she has. She's got almost the perfect 200 freestyle stroke, really stretching this away. Well, we're going to have to look at the qualification time here, because this looks good. The consideration time for the British team, 53.55. This looks very good indeed. Just outside that maybe, 54.6. So 1 second outside of the consideration time. Looked like she eased up maybe inside the last 10 there, Amy.
Yeah, it's very comfortable from her there. She doesn't even look like she's breathing very hard at the end of that 100 metres freestyle. So Evie Davis there, just on her left, also had a pretty good swim. She's been part of that 4x1 team at the Europeans, so it's nice when your teammates can swim well.
Well, it certainly is, and another good solid heat swim from Freya Anderson, and I expect some fireworks in the final tonight, because she'll be, I'm sure, in a centre lane. And Anna Hopkin, British record holder, the fastest seed in this final heat of the women's 100 free. But look all around her. Jemima Hall in 3, Meddy Harris, gold on the 100 backstroke in lane 3, Jemima Hall in 2, Harris in 3, the winner of the 100 back. Anna Hopkin, our Olympic champion, anchored that relay. The mixed medley relay at the Olympics in 4. Abby Wood in 5. She's really quick too. So it's Hopkin in 4, the British record holder on this 100 metres freestyle, but there's some great swimmers all around her.
Yeah, Wood there, really good start. She's got excellent underwater work, so she uses that to her advantage, and just love the straight arm stroke of Anna Hopkin in the middle. So small, but she's so strong.
Sorry, Amy, she's flying down this first 30. This is really quick.
Yeah, she's a 50 metres swimmer initially, but last year she's worked on that 100, our new British record holder in that event, so she's trying to tag that first 50 and second 50 together.
25.77 to her feet. That is really good. I think that would have made the final of the individual 50. Very fast first 50 from Anna Hopkin. Abby Wood trying to go with her and going well. Let's just have a look at the consideration time here. Maybe she's trying to do that. She did it on the 50 metres freestyle, staying with that long, powerful stroke. Let's see if she sticks her head down. She has done 10 metres out. That's really good. 54.29, just outside of the 53.55 consideration time. Out so fast to 30. That was, wow, I'm a little bit speechless if I'm honest. That was amazingly quick.
Yeah, she just shut it down really, I think, on that second 50. It looked nice and controlled into the wall. As I said, holding her breath, like you said, Andy, from 10, 15 metres out, and just finishes really strong, 54.29.
So Hopkin winning the final heat of the women's 100 freestyle, 54.2. Abby Wood second, Meddy Harris third. They'll all be in the big final. Here we go, summary of the final. Erin Little's made it in. She qualified for the juniors with that 55.97. Hopkin fastest, Anderson second, Hope third, Wood fourth, Davis fifth. They're all in there. Meddy Harris is in there. Wow. And Erin Little, a junior's made it in as well in lane 8 from Mount Kelly. Well done her. Top 16 made it 56.74. Bella Hindley just missing out on that B final. 8/100ths out.
Yeah, it's so tough, but there's still a couple of those heats to come in the middle session, so that benchmark time there for top 16 isn't impossible for some of those younger swimmers to come through and do. We've seen massive personal bests from some of our junior swimmers, and those junior finals and priority Paris finals give those swimmers lots of opportunity.
Amy, I'm really excited to see the depth in the British 100 metres freestyle. The men's last night was outrageous. I think we had something like all 4 of our guys inside the top 10, certainly 3 of the guys inside the top 10 in the world, including Matt Richards. Heat was the fastest swim in the world this year on the men's side. The women's side, they're starting to put in a decent set of hundreds as well. And can we get our relays in the finals and maybe even on the podium?
Yeah, I like that word, outrageous, because yesterday we were shocked. We were stunned that 4, 5 of those boys swam absolute world-class times in the final.
First 3 did the consideration time for the 100 metres freestyle. Burris won it. Duncan Scott second. Matt Richards in the end was third. Well, there are no false starts allowed, but I think the starter actually spoke, and that triggered lane number 9, Matt Burrows, to go in. So I would imagine he'll be okay here. I don't think it'd be extraordinarily harsh to disqualify him. So there's an announcement over the public address system here. Please be quiet for the start, and that's why the starter held them up. And Matt Burrows right at the top, unfortunately, went in. Mount Kelly's swimmer, Jad Al-Ghaziri. Here he is. He's a strong boy, isn't he? Lane number 4.
Yeah, when you have a restart as well, notice we missed that first whistle, so that is out. It's one long whistle and then back on the block when that sort of thing happens.
I like the
Well, I couldn't whistle any other way, and you don't want to hear that.
There you go. She's multi-talented, Amy Wilmot, not only a multi-Olympian, 3 times Olympian, 2 times Olympic finals on the 400 medley for women. And she gives you a at the start of the men's 200 breaststroke. It's the first heat of 8. First heat we will see of 8. It's actually heat 3. Heats 1 and 2 will be swum in the lunchtime session. So heat 3 of 8 of the men's 200 metres breaststroke. And a quick start in lane number 3. Max Vass of City of Stoke. And the white hat of City of Stoke leading out. And trying to go with him is Jad El-Ghaziri of Mount Kelly. Interesting stroke, very high stroke. Almost a porpoising action.
Yeah, he's got a really good hip hop there. Not doing the biggest of kicks, just really using his arms to drive him forwards and kind of popping those hips up as he comes in. But very difficult to do that if you're not keeping that stroke very, very long. So in lane 2, Edinburgh swimmer's got that lovely long, typical 200 metres breaststroke stroke. So squeezing those arms together at the front into that streamline and really nipping those heels together at the back.
Well, good into the halfway mark was Emil Moravsky of Edinburgh University. Moravsky into, he's got, it is, you're right, it's that typical long, powerful stroke. And again, talking to some of the coaches of the best 200 metres breaststrokers, they say do this long stroke, but try and maximise the distance that you get from the effort that you put into every stroke. Really glide in and make sure there's nothing sticking out, so nothing holds you back. So every single kick and pull you do, you get the chance to go as far as possible.
Yeah, the best swimmers in the world are actually the swimmers who can be the most streamlined and create the least amount of drag. And then when they add their own speed and their power into that makes them world class. But you'll very rarely, get a swimmer who's a little bit scrappy.
Well, in 6 now, James Abulencia of City of Birmingham, looking good in the white hat. The blue hat up there in 5 is Kramskoy. Mark Kramskoy. Looks like Mark might take it. He does. Kramskoy wins it. Abulencia in lane number 6, second. 2:24.6 is the winning time. So a lifetime best for Mark Kramskoy of Mediterranean. He doesn't look that happy. He's no smiles at all. What's going on? Come on, lifetime best, Amy.
Yeah, probably hurt quite a bit there. He kind of give us a little bit of a nod, but yeah, 200 breaststroke's one of those really physically demanding strokes, and your quads at the end of it are almost on fire.
So Kramskoy wins heat 3, the first of the 200 breaststroke heats that we've seen. Abelencia second, Jackson third, Moravsky fourth, Burrows fifth. So heat 4 of 8 heats of the men's 200 breaststroke. William Loveman of City of St Albans was the fastest seed. Joseph Ashley of Warrington in 3. 4 is Loveman, 5 is William Dean. William Dean of Maidenhead. I wonder if he's related to Thomas Dean, multiple Olympic champion of Maidenhead.
Yeah, Tom Dean's younger brother there.
So Loveman in lane number 4, City of St Albans. By far the best start, I think, coming down here in lane number 2. Charles Kershaw of Loughborough University in that black hat. Look at 3 lanes from bottom, so lane 0 closest to us. Then there's the white hat of Donatas Dragasius of Mount Kelly. Really long, powerful stroke, that white hat down the bottom, and Kershaw as well. Just getting so much distance out of every single kick and pull.
Yeah, it's really nice to see when you can almost see that propulsion phase. So you see that drive, and then you see that just a little bit more that swimmer can get. Almost like they're not putting any effort in, but they're just traveling through the water.
Edward Marcel Whittles of Chelsea of Westminster in lane number 7. Started well down the first 75 of this 200 metres breaststroke. It is heat 4 of 8. The senior qualification consideration time, it's actually very close to the automatic, 2:08.11 and 2:08.55, so very little difference between automatic and consideration. It's Ollie Kettle first to turn with Edward Marcel Whittles of Chelsea of Westminster right on his shoulder in second place at the halfway.
Yeah, still holding this lovely long technique, these boys in particular. We will start to see some of those stroke rates increase. So you can just about see in lane 7 now, Edward Marcel Whittles just starting to increase the rate of that stroke a little bit, not letting his competitor get too far ahead, maybe trying to build up into this third 50, which is a really important leg of the breaststroke. Tight round those turns is super important. Don't want to be wasting energy by going up to the ceiling, coming back down.
He had a good look around when he went round the wall as well. He looked all the way over. I wonder if he could maybe just concentrate on what he's doing a little bit more. And he's going really well. Don't worry about the rest of them.
Yeah, you don't want to use the turns as a rest. You want to use the turns simply to get from one direction to the other as quick as possible.
Well, Ollie Kettle of University of Bath, he has swam it really well. Look at the distance he's getting on every single stroke. Kettle's going to win it in lane number 6. Second, Ed Marcel Whittles of Chelsea Westminster, the time 2:20.23. 2:20.2. Entry time 2:24.6. 4.2 second, 4.4 second lifetime best.
Yeah, great swim, and looks a little bit surprised there with himself, kind of giving himself a little bit of a thumbs up. But often when you do that kind of such a big personal best, you're a little bit shocked. Maybe you know you're capable of doing that, but to come in and actually do it is a different story. And 2:20.23, as we said, 4 seconds under his entry time.
Well, the first 2 guys there were entered on 2:24s. One in 2:20, second 2:21. What a battle it was. Just a proper head-to-head in lanes, what's that, 6 and 7 there. This is heat 5 of 8, the last of the unseeded heats in the men's 200 metres breaststroke. Josh Mitchell in 3, Donald Bisset in 4, Christian Ryan in 5, fastest 3. 5th heat of the men's 200 metres breaststroke. And the best start coming in lane number 3, Joshua Mitchell. Tell you what was fascinating there, Amy, they went very close to the 15-metre mark. I don't think there's a 15-metre rule on the breaststroke. There is certainly on the flyback and free, but I don't think there is on the breaststroke, is there?
I think you must have been reading my mind, because that was the first thing
Sorry.
I was about to say. So yeah, in the breaststroke in particular, because in theory it's harder to travel further, it's just one pattern. So it's that movement pattern of glide, kick, pull and recover. So it's just really how far you can go. Obviously you're not going to go 18 or 19 meters and then just go super slow that you then pop up to the surface. So yeah, there's no limit on that.
You know what? I've never thought about that before, just mainly because I've never seen anyone go anywhere near the 15-metre mark. But some really good starts down in 2, 3 and 4, particularly Arthur Llewellyn of Loughborough University in the Black Cat in 2. And he started well. It's pretty even. Maybe up in 7 is Pierce Greening of University of Stirling, first to turn in 7. In 6 it's Jay Manners of Northumberland and Durham Performance. Also closest to us, right at the bottom in that yellow hat, is Ollie Jones of Poole.
Yeah, Ollie Jones got slightly higher stroke rate. Still proving effective. So this third 50 in the 200 breaststrokes where you really want to think about, if you're not in the race, you want to build in and try and catch those guys in front. If you're leading, it's about not getting too excited, holding the water in each stroke and really driving forward with that chest and not just nodding your head.
So it looks like first to turn right at the bottom, Ollie Jones. And he's first by 1.2 seconds or so at the moment from Poole Swimming Club. And I think you can hear the coaches behind us going nuts. They're getting very excited because their swimmer, 9th fastest seed into this Heat 5, is actually leading still right at the bottom of the shot, the yellow hat.
Yeah, he's increasing that stroke rate even further now. Just wants to make sure he doesn't slip too much water, but still proving effective.
Well, I've got to tell you, the coach here going nuts. I've got his coach's name is Duncan Lorraine and Rob somebody. I haven't got all the name of Rob, but if it's those two, your swimmer's just gone 2:18.89 off a entry time and a lifetime best of 2:23. No wonder he's going nuts. That's a fabulous swim.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And a double thumbs up. Oh, and a little love heart there from him this morning. So, yeah, another one of those swimmers in them outside lanes, really using the opportunity that they've been given. And 2:18.89, that 5-second lifetime best. Brilliant swim from him. Pierce Greening also in lane 7 there, took 2 seconds on his best. So the winners from that heat just coming from those outside lanes.
Very impressive indeed. 5-second lifetime best. You've got to love that, haven't you? On a 200. The first of the seeded heats of the men's 200 breaststroke. Big boys now in the fastest 30 in Great Britain in these next 3 heats. Callum Melville of Nova, 3rd fastest seed into this heat in lane 3. George Smith in 4 of Stirling, the fastest seed. Kyle Booth in 5. Archie Goodburn in 6. And Goodburn in 6 won gold on the 50 and bronze on the 100. The Scottish record holder, I think he set the Scottish record on the 50, didn't he? Fantastic speed.
Yeah, he did indeed set that 50-metre breaststroke record. So I spoke to him this morning. He said, well, I'm just going to give it a go in this 200. Not his preferred or favourite event. We used to seeing him, especially in those 50s and 100s, even when he was kind of 4th, 5th, and now he's obviously broke through onto the podium. But I think this will still be a really good swim from him. He's got that confidence from the 50 and the 100, so giving it a go already this morning. Those 2 boys there turning 30.5. Well,
really interesting, the positions finished on the 100 metres and the 50 here, because George Smith in lane number 4, who's leading inside those yellow lanes, was 7th on the 100. And in 6, Archie Goodburn, gold on the 50, bronze on the 100. And George Smith, look at the distance per stroke that he's getting here. It looks so comfortable, so smooth. And his entry time is lifetime best, 2:13.7. Let's see what he splits. 64.8, so he can certainly go faster than 2:13.7 off that. Let's see how he goes on the second 100.
Yeah, he'll want to be thinking about making that drop off as tight as possible. So the first 50 for him will have been quite easy and controlled. Second 50, about settling onto pace, and then building now into this third 50, trying to hold that pace. So with that opening 100, he should be on for a good swim.
Looks like he's just stepped up the pace a little bit, just stepped up the urgency a little bit at the start, the first half of this third 50 metres. And he's really working into this wall. Let's see how he hits it. Not too bad at all, quite good around as well. Not too slow around the wall. So 40 metres to go in this first seeded heat of the men's 200 breaststroke. And George Smith of Stirling looking very good. Yeah, he's getting up and over that stroke. So his stroke rate has increased, but he's leading with his chest. He's not just nodding his head and kind of winging his arms around. He's really tight with those elbows and squeezing at the back every single time. 15 metres out, and George Smith is going to win the first of the seeded heats of the men's 200 breaststroke. 7th on the 100, but wow, he looks comfortable on the 200, doesn't he? His lifetime best, 2:13.79. So he's just, well, maybe half a second outside of his lifetime best. He's got his mouth closed. He's not even breathing hard. Wow. Well, if that's anything to go by, it looked very comfortable indeed. The efficiency of that stroke is something to behold. It looks beautiful. He's going to have to go a bit faster if he's going to get a medal tonight, I would imagine, but that looked good.
Yeah, great start to the heats there. In particular, the 200 breaststroke, we either seem to have very, very fast heats, or the swimmers that tend to be a little bit behind those personal bests, but great way to start heat number 6, 2:14.2.
Archie Goodburn going a lifetime best under 2:17 for the first time, 2:16.83. Alex Casey third, John Britton fourth. So the second last heat of the men's 200 breaststroke. Greg Butler, silver on the 100, trying to go, there he is, in that black hat, trying to go under 60 seconds on the 100, went 60.02. 2 100s outside. Coached by Mel Marshall. Let's see where he can go on this 200. Second last heat of the men's 200 breaststroke. Matt Rogers in 3 from Bromley. Gregory Butler of Loughborough in 4. And Olivier Vedren of Norwich swam a really good 100 metres, the junior, to beat the consideration time on that massive lifetime best. He's in lane 5.
Yeah, these boys this morning, just such lovely breaststroke strokes. Gregory Butler here prefers the 200, so those slightly longer breaststroke events versus the 50 and the 100, and you can just see that he's got that lovely breaststroke stroke. There's no energy being wasted. He's just driving forwards and getting into that lovely long streamline position. It's almost like when he gets into that streamline position, someone's pulling a rope at the other end, and he's just kind of getting that extra tiny little bit on every single glide.
And not super surprising, but he has a little bit of Petey about him, doesn't he, in this stroke? The way he comes up really high and his hands come right under his chest.
Yeah, you want to get those elbows nice and tight, in particular on breaststroke swimming. If you're leaving them out too wide, you're not whipping and kind of squeezing the water out with those elbows. So it's not only in breaststroke about getting nice and high and tight, but really nipping in those elbows, kind of starting off slow with that pull-out phase at the front and really getting in tight to kind of lift yourself up rather than just drive yourself over the top.
Well, the consideration time is 2:08.55, very fast indeed. The junior time, we'll just watch that, because Olivier Vedren in lane number 5 of City of Norwich had a cracking 100 metres, and he's swimming a decent 200 here as well. The white hat just turning in the centre there in lane number 5, and the time he's looking for, 2:16.66.
Yeah, not completely out of reach for him there. He has been looking really good this week and swimming really well.
So 25 minutes to go in the second last heat of the men's 200 metres breaststroke, and Greg Butler looks really comfortable, coached by Mel Marshall in that brilliant breaststroke stable. What a set of breaststrokers she's got. Butler looking really strong. Vedrin still going pretty well in the white hat in 5. He's going to be close to that junior consideration time, Vedrin. So Butler wins it, 2:15 flat. Ross Young second, 2:17.13. Vedrin in the end, 2:17.39. So he's just half a second out of consideration on the 200, but just ducked under the 100 consideration time. Dual passport, so he can represent Great Britain. So result of the second last heat, Amy, Greg Butler looked very comfortable.
Yeah, it didn't look too taxing this morning, just kept that long stroke. We didn't really see him pick it up too much into the second 100, and not necessarily having to, seeing the time set before. So it looks like a pretty comfortable set of heats for these top 3 boys this morning. And James Wilby now in lane 4. I think we'll see much of the same from him.
There is Wilby, Olympic silver medal. He swam the heats of that men's medley relay, the breaststroke leg, to allow Adam Peaty to rest for the final. So important to be able to do that nowadays. If you want to get a big medal at the Olympic Games on the relays, rest your big guns. But it can be dangerous if you rest your big guns, stick slightly slower guys in, and the relay doesn't get through. You end up looking really stupid. It has happened quite a few times with quite a few countries. So you've got to get strength and depth through the program. And I think that is why Great Britain Swimming have started thinking here about the ability to add more discretionary picks for the relays, so we can put those relays into the World Championships in Fukuoka in July of this year. They've removed the cap on the number of discretionary selections they can do. And maybe one of the reasons here is because James Wilby won the 100 metres breaststroke, Amy, but didn't quite do the consideration time, but they really need him on the plane to Fukuoka.
Yeah, he's an integral part of that men's 4x1 medley team, and we've had some success in that in the past. So to automatically qualify this year at the World Championships means that next year in Olympic year, that's taken care of. We don't have to worry about that from a Great Britain perspective.
Well, he looks really good here in lane 4, the fastest seed into this final heat of the men's 200 breaststroke. He's working hard, 63.1 at the turn, working very hard. Saw him win the European Championships last summer from lane 8. Very nearly didn't make the final. In lane 8, thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a go. He did have a go, and he won gold from lane 8 at the European Championships. Looks good here as well. He's working hard.
Yeah, he's probably swimming a little bit faster than I thought he might, not because it looks any really difficult, but he's not kind of just labouring through his stroke. He's swimming with a slightly higher stroke rate than we saw the boys in the heat before. We know James Wilby has a slightly higher stroke rate anyway, but 1:37.6 there to the turn, so he looks quite comfortable, and he's swimming a little bit faster than those boys in the heat before.
Well, that last 50, I think it was 34.6. So if he goes another one of those, he's going to be somewhere around the 2:12 mark. He looks strong, really nice, very efficient. Just starting to get a little bit tired, but his 63.1 at the 100 was quick. And the rest of the field, what, about 5 metres behind him? Harvey Freeman and William Ellington, but no doubt about the winner of the final heat of the men's 200 breaststroke. It is James Wilby, 2:12.70. Really good, solid swim. I think he needed that. I think he needed to get rid of those cobwebs, a little bit rusty. Hasn't raced quite as much as maybe he would have liked to have done coming into this championship. So something like that, I think, will do him an awful lot of good. Good rest this afternoon, I guess, before the final.
Yeah, he was out pretty well. Finishes 2:12, which is roughly the same time he went in the heats at the European Championships. So a nice heat swim for him. A little bit faster than those boys in the heat before, but as you said, just sometimes nice to get in and blow some of those cobwebs away and get that rhythm in the stroke.
So summary of the finalists then. It took a 2:17 to get in, Ryan Griffiths, but fastest in, as expected, is our European champion, James Wilby. Of course, it is provisional because there's a couple more heats, the slowest heats this afternoon, but I'd be surprised if too many people were pushing for that big final. Certainly possibilities for the other finals. 4 finals in total. George Smith second, Greg Butler third. Now the B finalists go down to Angus Allison. And we'll bring you the full summary after the slower heats have been completed. Oscar Bilbao, the junior, down there in 20th. But impressive stuff from James Wilby. That was a really solid heats from this morning. I think he's probably done exactly what he needed to in the heats, would you say? Or looking for a bit faster?
No, I think he's done enough. He didn't have to go very fast. He saw the 2 boys leading the way in that 2:14, 2:15 mark. So he's still a couple of seconds ahead of the rest of the field. And I think he's got more in there. So really looking forward to tonight's finals.
There's going to be some cracking finals tonight. Join us at 6 o'clock. Women's 200 metres backstroke final, then the men's 100 metres butterfly, and the women's 100 freestyle. That should be a corker, and then that men's 200 metres breaststroke. 6 o'clock live, back on this British swimming website. It's goodbye from morning 4 of the British Swimming Championships heats. From me, Andy Jameson.
And me, Amy Wilmot.
Goodbye.